So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining this breakout session with Antonio, Casis of Novartis. Novartis, of course, the global pharmaceutical company. And Antonio is going to share what they have been doing across Latin America. According to fleet efficiency and cost savings, they have set a strategy in which they will generate efficiencies, and Antonio is so friendly to explain to us what exactly are the building blocks of that strategy. You can ask your questions via the chat function in the tool. So please, if you have a question for Antonio, ask the question that you always wanted to see answered by Antonio, and I will moderate at the end of the session the Q&A together with Antonio and with the audience. So it's also an opportunity for you, dear audience, to be interactive and be engaged in this session. Antonio, thank you very much. We see your presentation on screen. So if you are ready, the audience and myself, we are ready to listen to your story. And I will mute myself and also put off my camera so that you have full attention.
Okay, great. Thank you for the introduction. And it's really glad to be here and to be invited to be a speaker in this fleet conference this year. So I'm Antonio Casis. I'm the Lacan corporate spend.
So, ladies and gentlemen, apparently we lost the connection with Antonio. We hope that he will connect again. So please stay in this room, because I'm sure that in a minute or so he will connect again and he can start again with his short presentation. As you have seen in the beginning, he was connected, so normally everything should work. And we are now also in contact with him to see exactly what happened. So just stay a few seconds with us, please, until that we have Antonio back in this session.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm here back.
Hello.
Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, Antonio. So okay. It's great that you are back again.
I'm back. Sorry for that.
There's no problem. People are still in the room, so they are eager to know your story. So no problem at all.
Okay.
I will let you know when I see your presentation. Okay, I see it again on the screen, so that's good. Okay. Perfect.
Great.
Okay.
Perfect. So sorry about that. Thank you for the introduction and thank you for the invitation. So I'm really pleased to be here as a speaker. So I'm Antonio Casis. I'm the Lacan Corporate Spend Category Manager for Novartis. So part of my responsibilities are the fleet category. I've been in Novartis for around 16 years so far, in different roles and responsibilities within the procurement area. And so I'm going to start giving you kind of a picture of where we are right now across Latin America within our fleet operations in Novartis. So basically, we have three models. One is the car loan. So we have employees that receive a loan to purchase the cars and pay back a certain percentage of this loan amount. So depends on the country and the policy. They cover a 60 or 70 or an 80% that they can return. It's obviously one car per employee, and the period goes around 36 to 48 months period. And we have as well an own model where the company purchased the vehicle and it depreciates the assets financially. Then it sells it to the employee with a considerable discount after the life cycle ends. It's also between a 36 to a 48-month period. So we have these models across the region. So in Mexico, we have an own model. Then for the Andean, Chile and Argentina and the CAC cluster, we have a mix of own vehicles and loan vehicles. And in Brazil, we have just car loan vehicles. That's the models that we have across the region, where we have around 3,600 vehicles across Latin America. So the benefits that we see with this current setup of having own loan and the mix of both, it's basically, we know that for our region, the vehicles and the cars, it's an HR tool for retention of talent. We have been managing regional fleet management, RFPs and RFIs, so we have kind of a standardized model in this management piece. We also have regional and cluster insurance RFPs, depending on the countries that we're talking about. We have also regional and cluster fuel cards negotiations with our different vendors across the region. And obviously, we have global and regional negotiations with the OEMs, obviously with a continuous market analysis on those in a really periodic period. Periodic time frame. We also have drivers and safety strategy across the different countries, and a fleet and a green fleet strategy. I'm going to go a little more deeper on it on the next slide. So basically, we see these benefits of having both models. We're also working on a third model, that it's the leasing model in some specific countries in the region. So we're working on developing a business case on the countries on where it makes sense to move maybe the own or the loan, or the mix that we have currently in some countries, the mix of these models into a leasing model. It's an analysis that we're continuously making. It's not the first business case that we do, and we're just waiting to see the outcome and see if it's feasible to move to leasing or not. Talking more deeply in terms of the green strategy that we have, Novartis wants to become carbon neutral by 2025. So it's a really ambitious objective that we have. We know that electric vehicles are not ready in our markets, specifically in the Latin American market. It's not that mature. So we're building a global fleet program to define the different country roadmaps and offset unavoidable emissions. So for this assessment, we've been obviously assessing supply versus demand, production capability, product availability in our markets, raw material availability, battery supplies, charging, all the charging infrastructure for the vehicles, physicals, the fiscal and tax stimulus, and obviously the pricing versus the critical mass. So we're making all these assessments and making what makes sense for the Latin American market. In some countries that we know that they are pretty mature in electric vehicles, we're accelerating the the access and the fleet for these countries. But in our countries, we're assessing all the different criteria for. So for talking about Latin America, based on these initial assessments that we've been working across the globe, so the idea is to accelerate and be carbon neutral by 2030. Maybe in some specific countries in our region, we will be able to be carbon neutral by 2030, but being more realistic, we're thinking on being ready on 2030. So the idea is to move to a hybrid as soon as we can in our countries, where where the market maturity allow us to move to hybrids, and and then move to full electric vehicles in 2030. So it's basically the roadmap that we're reimagining for our countries, and we're pretty sure that we will achieve it. And so I think that it's pretty much what I had to share to all this group. So I think that maybe we can move forward with with all the questions that you can have. Questions. Let me just.
Hello, Antonio. Hello. So thank you very much for the presentation. We already have some questions that I see in the chat. I will ask him. Mark Peterson is asking, you are talking about car loans. Are these loans with banks, or are these more leases with fleet management companies?
They are more with us. I mean, we are the ones that make the loan directly with the employees.
Okay.
So Novartis pays for the cars in some cases, and then it's discounted in in the salaries of the employees, and in other cases, it's it's a loan that Novartis gives directly to the employees.
Okay.
Part of the salaries. Yeah.
Yes, I see. Yes, it's sort of a salary sacrifice system. Yes, indeed. Another question asked by Angel Figueroa is, which kind of HEVs are your company expecting to drive in the future?
Well, I mean, as I was saying, that the maturity of the markets of electric vehicles in Latin America, it's still really, really starting. We don't have really a lot of electric vehicle models available. So, I mean, we need, we need that the market can offer more types of electric vehicles to know what are the type that we will be choosing, right?
Okay.
But definitely we will need to make an analysis of of the pros and cons of of the models available and see what will, what will be feasible and will be apply for the needs that we have, right?
Okay. Do you think that your drivers, that your employees, that they are ready, that they would like to drive new powertrain vehicles? Or do you think that there is also there some work that needs to be done?
Well, both. I mean, definitely we have a lot of, stakeholders that would love to drive a Tesla, for example.
Yes.
I think we all love to drive nice electric vehicles. And definitely there are, people that love to stay with with the cars. I mean, the gasoline cars that we have. I mean, both models have their pros and cons, but I think that it will depend as well on the market. But thinking about it, we're ready. I think that there's a lot of work to do behind in the infrastructure of our countries, and what really will help us moving forward with having electric vehicles.
Good. A question from Pablo Brito, also referring to the system that is in place with the car loans. With this scheme, the vehicle remains as a property of the company, Novartis, at the end of the use, or is it that at the end of the loan, the employee gets the vehicle?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, when we have the own vehicles, it's at the end of of a certain period of time. It can go from 36 to 48 months. The employee can choose to buy the car with a benefit, obviously less than that it was invoiced to the company. And when it's a loan, it also has the opportunity to remain with the employees, not with the company. Yes.
Okay. I would like also to introduce my dear colleague that you have seen before in the OEM panel discussion, Daniel Bland, based in Brazil, Fleet Latam editor. Daniel, you also have listened to the presentation of Antonio. You know, of course, the company Novartis. Do you have a question for Antonio?
Yeah, first, hi, Steven. Good to see you in another session again. Hello, Antonio.
Hello, Daniel.
Different, because in Latin America, Novartis is a multinational company, and in Latin America, it seems to be a little bit more. There's a little bit more focus on in terms of safety and security. And I was just curious about what is Novartis doing in terms of safety and security in the region. Is it do you take this you face this a little bit differently than like maybe other regions of the world, and what are you doing about that?
Well, we have, that's a really good question. We work very closely with our fleet management companies across the clusters and countries. With a lot of different trainings that all the associates that that receive or have a car, a company car needs to go through, and it's it's like a continuous effort to go through the trainings. They are kind of an annual based trainings that you need to cover. So yeah, we have these kind of programs or training programs for the drivers.
So, but this session is more like about cost control. Does it become more costly? Does it impact your costs with this type of concern?
Well, I mean, obviously, this, let's say, package of trainings, they have a cost, but I think I mean, we've been making the analysis of, of the sinistrality on the insurance piece, and when we're starting to implement these different trainings, our sinistrality went down. So I think it's a good measure. Yeah.
You can get like a discount on insurance maybe and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right.
I see that we also have a question from Maria Rosaria de Franco. She is wondering, what kind of software do you use to manage your fleet? Are you relying purely on the fleet management company? Do you have another system that you are using? How do you manage it?
Well, we're relying in our fleet management company systems. So yes, we do not have an internal fleet management system.
And you don't work with a third party outside of the fleet management company, so a third party fleet management company that is, let's say, doing the fleet management for you. So it's the leasing company, the fleet management company, let's say, and yourself. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, good. Daniel, perhaps a final question for Antonio?
I don't have one off the top of my head.
No problem.
I don't have another one. I don't know.
It's no problem. Then I have just a quick one, a final one. To control your fleet across Latin America, how is your team organized? Do you have in each country local fleet managers? Do you have like a regional setup? And how do you communicate with the global Novartis team?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's also a good question. It depends on, on the country and the number of vehicles that we have in each kind of cluster country. So in some cases, we do have people in country that manage manage the fleet in conjunction with the fleet management companies that we have. But in some of the other cases, we have kind of a centralized team as well, and we report with the global teams as well of Novartis. Yeah.
And that's frequently that you communicate with the global team? Is it like every month, every quarter, or?
Well, I mean, also depends on the projects that we have that we have running. But I mean, if I could say that on a monthly basis, and if there's big projects running on a weekly basis, yeah.
Okay, very good. Antonio, thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation. Also, thank you for answering the questions of the participants in this breakout session. Thank you to my Fleet Latam colleague, Daniel Blend. To the audience, I hope that you found it a great session. And now we will start networking again. That can be done in the networking area where you can meet one-to-one with the other participants. And of course, you can visit the digital booths of our conference sponsors. See you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.